Hey everybody, and welcome to a behind the scenes of me building a new wall. I literally took a little bit early off of work so I could actually kind of get this done, so that way by the time I actually get on with the future streams or videos, that I would have a professional background, or at least professional looking. It's not going to be like expensive, but yeah. So feel free to hang out and kind of spy on me if you want to. I don't know. That's up to you. But this is just me doing it for the hell of it. All right. Well, let me see. Let me get something up real quick. Yeah, this is going to be quite the project. Quite the project to do. Okay, so first off, actually bring this up. All right. I'll be right back. Oh, holy shit, I never knew I had so many boxes. Sorry. Okay, let me close the door. I'll just put the microphone down here so you guys can hear me. There you go. So, how's everybody doing today? This is gonna be a lot of work. Hopefully I can get it done real soon, because I don't plan it to be very long. But putting up all the audio panels and shit is gonna be the longest part. Maybe, yes. But if I see you guys talk, hey, what's going on, Heading? How are you? I just got off work. I literally got home to literally just like start this fucking project, because you guys know that I've been trying to get this done, and I have all the audio panels outside of the room, but as soon as I get the main part done, then I can start working on the audio panels. So hopefully this shouldn't take longer than, I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'm really hoping sooner, but we'll see how fast I can get through it. So you're probably thinking, why would I use cardboard? There's actually a really good purpose for it. The reason why is because it's actually lighter, and these audio panels and this cloth is going to go over everything. And that way it kind of looks like that wall behind me over there. But yeah, it's going to make the whole streams look a lot more professional, especially once I have an RGB light to go to the backside. But I just figure, why not do this? Because I was gonna do a video game when I got home, but I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to start upgrading the stream. So this is one of the biggest things that I need to get done, and I just never have time when I'm working. But if I'm off, you know, early enough, I figure, why not get this out of the way? And cardboard, I'd rather use it anyway rather than a divider, because I don't really have access to a card to go grab like a massive freaking wooden board, like a really big flat one. And unfortunately, moving around this room would be way too hard, especially with that bed. So I figure the easiest thing is build a wall that I can just put behind me. I have 2 stands that I use for like the green screen, and it would clamp onto the boxes, which will have like the audio panels and the cloth and everything already preset made. So it kind of looks like I have that wall over there behind me. So, you know, it'll look nice. You know, it'll look like John Wolfe as an example. Because if I use a divider, the problem is they're not only expensive, but most of them are really cheaply shit made, and honestly, they don't have stands at the bottom. But with cardboard, at least it's easy, cheap, and I don't have to spend $100 for it, you know? And besides, you guys get to also see how much hard work I put into this shit. So about 4 pieces. I want to say like 4 pieces will do it. So 1, 2. Yeah, like the funny thing is that a lot of people may think it's actually a really dumb thing to use cardboard, but it's actually the best thing because the audio panels will actually attach directly onto the cardboard, which the cloth is going to go over it, so it hides all the little crevices behind like the little gaps between the audio panels if it doesn't stretch far enough or if it's not compressed far enough, so it blends in really well with lighting. It'll be very light to move. It'll basically be like kind of like a green screen, you know, just got to clamp it and it'll look really nice. And then once I get an RGB light behind me, which I actually plan to get on my next paycheck, it'll look just like John Wolfe or Markiplier, you know. And it's only because I really don't have a lot of options, you know. It just is way too hard to work around this room with that bed in my way, so this is like the best option I can come up with that's cheap. It'll look stupid in the beginning, but once I get it all finished, I only need 4 pieces and I've already got 1 done. Jesus, cutting through 2 of these is impossible. My arm is tiring out already. wow, that's actually a lot faster to do that. No, unfortunately, no. I don't. Much as I really wish I did. Oh, that is really fast. It's actually helping a lot for me to do that. There we go, now you can see what I'm doing. Well, almost 3 boxes down. One more to go. I might need a 5th one though. Damn, I almost actually stabbed my damn finger. It is a $350 combat knife called Lassi Sambo. Lassi Zabo. It's actually one of like the best top 3 made knives. This thing's heavy as hell. hold on, let's see. Yep, undoubtedly. About 4 of these things should do it. Should do just fine for 4 of them. What happened to my knife? Where did I put my knife? I don't even know where. Oh, fucking. Hey, not too bad. It's actually the perfect height. Awesome. Alright, now I just need The only problem is that, I might need to use 2 end pieces because it's actually short by barely, I don't know, 5 inches. So I'll probably have to combine a couple more pieces, but after that should be done. Hey, and it's a nice little way for you guys to learn something new, huh? plenty of cardboard box. Still got plenty of cardboard boxes lying around my. Oh, really? Well, this will be a really nice way for you to learn how to build your own wall if you ever want to. I know it looks stupid, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. Like I said, I don't really do anything ghetto. Or, I mean, you know, I don't make things look stupid. No, there's only one problem though. I ran out of tape. Fuck. Now, if I'm lucky, I might find some tape somewhere. I'll have to go see. But the damn cardboard looks pretty big enough. Only problem is no tape. Fuck. Well, let's see if I can go find some. I have to go check on the rice anyway. Oh, I didn't even see that someone was there. Hey, Wisdom. No, I did not. I just worked and I wore the model outfit. Yeah, couldn't really afford to. Well, it's not more like I couldn't afford to, more like I just couldn't find the time to, you know? Tape is not meant for this shit, but hey, if it's gonna work, it'll work for temporarily until I can buy a new piece of tape. I don't know if Wisdom's still there. He probably caught me during the time I was out there. Thing is, not cooperating. There, now you guys can at least hear something. Ugh. Actually really hot in here for some reason. See how many people. Haha, somebody's on YouTube, lurking. Yep, that'll hold. For now, it'll hold. But now comes the biggest pain in the ass part. Literally. Where the fuck did the tape go? I feel like some crackhead using cardboard boxes. That shit. Oh my god, fucking cardboard. Why? But it's the best thing to use. It's not like I have a truck to go get a fucking giant flat piece of board from like Home Depot or Lowe's, you know? Fuck my life. I hate it when tape like tears in half. Right. Progress is being made. Progress is being made. Anybody message? No, not yet. Violet. The tinfoil hat. Yeah, nobody put on a tinfoil hat, okay. It makes me want to watch that movie Signs. I actually always liked that movie. I don't know why. It was just kind of, I don't know, funny, relaxing. Signs was it was a pretty decent film. Had the actor from The Gladiator who was playing as the Emperor. Hey, this is actually turning out really well. Once I get these parts on, all I have to do is literally pin on the fucking the panels and then pretty much just test what it looks like. This cloth is actually the perfect size. Fuck, the tape fucking, like, I can't find the spot. There it is. Oh shit, oh my fucking chair's in the way. I'm gonna go grab tape again from the tent here in a moment. The good thing is, oh shit, I almost hit my face on the microphone. The good thing is I'm actually really close to done. I fucking hate tape. Why can't they just like come up with something? Did I watch The Village? Yes, I did. I mean, like, I have hundreds of actual really good horror movies, but you know, if we're talking, you know, just something that you would watch just for the relaxation, Signs was one of them. You know, The Village. I think that was like the one with the people in the masks. I think it was like some bank robbery movie or something. It was something like that. I don't remember. I know that it was something like. Yep, I need one more bundle of tape, and then I'll be all done. Let's go grab that tape, like right now. The blind girl and the monsters in red robes. Yeah, you know, I think I remember. I know I've seen it before. I just don't really quite remember which one, unless I like took a look at the trailer or something. Hold on, let's go grab another Microsport tape. Okay, I'm back. Did I miss anything? No. Just people lurking. Alright, I'm okay with that. There, at least I can kinda talk into the microphone. Eventually I'm gonna get a third monitor where if I'm like moving around, I don't know, I'll be able to read the chat anywhere. mind buying a tablet, in fact. Alright. Now for the fun part. Let's go grab the green screen stands, and put this up, clamp it, and then put up the audio panels and see how it looks from behind. Clean up my goddamn mess first. What the? Oh yeah. Okay, almost done. The only problem is, now comes the last part. So let's see. If I go like this, it's good for the background. If I do like this, if I move it over to the left, problem is the tripods are so fucking big, but alright, let's start putting up the audio. This one's gonna be the biggest pain in the ass, I'm telling you. The only problem is I don't know where the hell the fucking tacks are. I forgot where I put them. Yeah, I don't know where the hell I put the other tacks. I have like a whole nother set of this shit. No, I do. I have it somewhere around here. There's like a whole set of this crap. Because I have these black ones that I use to put them up. I may as well use these ones and see how it looks. Like a microphone. Oh yeah, this will do very nicely. What might actually help though is that I might need to eventually kind of glue the tacks in because they are piercing cardboard, so just saying that it might actually need more than just the tacks because I feel like they're gonna fall out, but if I put enough then it should hopefully hold it in. I had my thread locker glue, it would actually be really easy. Now I ran out of tacks, so I gotta freaking look for the other ones. don't know where the hell they are. I have like a whole bunch of this shit somewhere. Oh, son of a bitch. I don't remember where I put it. I wonder if it's out there. Why would it be out there? I don't know. Let's go take a look out there. There they are. I found them. God damn. I have 150 of these. More than enough to put up for this, you know, whatever's going on this thing behind me. The built wall. See, these ones are flat. I forgot that I can't see the chat sometimes. When it comes to interior decorating, am I minimalist or max? I'm actually a maximalist, but the problem is that I focus far less on interior decorating because I have nobody to come home to. You know, I have an empty life, and this home is kind of about a good little you know, they say that like the way that people live or like how they dress or what they pick as a car or even how they decorate their home is a lot about their personality. For me, mine's kind of just nothing happy, I guess. So it's like, you know, I don't really have a whole reason to have interior decorating. No one's coming here. No one's been here for, I don't know, I think the last time I had a guest over was 2013. Has it been like 12 years? Something like that. You know, like an actual real guest for me. Isn't that kind of sad to admit something like that, though? Never had a guest in 12 years. Has it really been that long? No, it's what can you expect, you know? Some people, like I said, some lives are not meant to be as fortunate as other people, you know? I'm a tough person though. I've survived all these years. So far, it actually doesn't look too shabby when I start putting up the panels. The only problem is that, just like I predicted, it's not holding because it is cardboard in there. Definitely one of the biggest things I need is some form of a glue, because you see this? It sticks out this far. However, for some reason it has trouble staying in the, the cardboard. Now, if it was like felt or maybe, I don't know, something like that, felt, or perhaps even wood, it would definitely stay in, but I'm gonna need like some kind of glue, and it's gonna have to like, I don't know, because otherwise I would have to use adhesive on the back of this, and yeah, it would just be panel for panel for panel. But it's gonna be something that I probably won't be able to do in this video, because I don't even actually have glue. When I think about it, I don't even think I have thread lock glue, which is actually something that I used in mechanic stuff. But honestly, once I have the glue, I'll probably have to order it. And by the time that I start streaming on what's it called, Tuesday for King Kong, you know, I'm telling you, you guys think I'm fucking around. This game is actually really brilliant. Like, you guys thinking in your head, oh, come on, King Kong. No, this game is really different than you think. And that's why I'm so excited. I waited like 12 years to get my hands on this. But I'm just gonna have to order for glue. Yeah, glue. And I'll have to put it into the tack and put it through, and hopefully it'll bind over to what's behind me. Otherwise I'll have to buy adhesive, like some kind of spray adhesive, put it on the back of this, attach it to this, and that way it'll go all the way through. And I'll have an RGB light behind me, and that way you know, it'll look like this. You know how much better that's gonna look? I don't have to fucking have that shit ass background like I've been always like so uncomfortable about showing, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong, the RGB lights and all was nice, but that bed, biggest problem for me was that damn bed, you know? Yeah, the movie was okay, but the game is like I said, it makes the movie look like shit. Like, I'm telling you, this game makes you really appreciate the characters. Like, you don't really appreciate the characters too much in the movie, but in the game, it's like a whole different level of like character development. I mean, you have like appreciation for even King Kong, because you get to feel actually sad for him, given like you get to see things from a first-hand perspective for King Kong. And at the same time, you see a first-person perspective as the characters in the game, and it plays a lot like a Tomb Raider, kind of like a Resident Evil, Tomb Raider, first-person kind of game. You know, I would probably say it's like a first-person Tomb Raider. That's what I would say it is. It's really awesome. Like, I mean, shit, game like definitely is fucking fun as hell. I mean, you read about it online through Reddit. Anybody will say King Kong was ahead of its time. I mean, that game was just the true hidden gem of it all, and I cannot wait to play that game and actually like finish it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to buy adhesive, and these panels will, have to be put up on a. I'll probably just do it on my own time once I get the glue, because tonight it's already almost 4 anyway. I want to kind of make my food, but hey, out of cardboard boxes, this actually didn't turn out so bad, you can already tell that even though it's made out of cardboard boxes and cloth, tablecloth, that this idea right here is really going to shine, especially once I have like proper lighting on it, in RGB light. It'll actually like blend in really well with the background, and it'll look like nice. It'll look nice, and it won't look so tacky with my bed behind me. Of course, with the proper lighting, it would be something like this. Proper lighting would probably make it look like that, and eventually if I have RGB lights on it, which I don't have RGB lights. I have the 2 lights in front of my desk and they're RGB, but I need those for the front of my desk so you can see my face, because if I try to use any other lights, yeah, it's just not going to look good. But I'm going to get an RGB lamp, but it won't be until like this coming paycheck, which is what the fuck is today? Sunday. So I don't get paid until like Thursday midnight, Friday midnight actually. At that point I would order for the RGB light. It takes like a day or 2 for it to come in, and it would go right behind me on the ground facing upward, and it will be behind the chair, which means that the panels should ideally light up to a different color, like purple, red, green, whichever, to fix the theme of, or fit the theme of like what's going on in the game, and it should just look nicer. Now, it looks close to me, but there's actually about like several inches of space behind it. It's just because there is these tripods and they make it very hard for me to maneuver to that fucking corner. But if I can figure something out, I can push it back like another 4 inches so it doesn't look so close to me, and it leaves a little more breathing room for the RGB light to go behind me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just once I get that ready. So at least then I'll have something nice. But yeah, these tacks, I thought that they were going to stick on to the cardboard, but it is cardboard, and I kind of should have expected a little bit better. But this idea would actually be a lot better if I had what do you want to say, like if I had like a big flat piece of wood, like a really massive sized flat piece of wood, preferably one that can bend backwards, like fold, because then you would have the panels on the outside, and when you open it like this would be the flat side, and this side right here would be the panels, so you can kind of open it like a book, and the panels would be on the outside, flat board on the inside, and that way it doesn't take up so much space, and then you would just have it like leaning up. No, not unfortunately, that would not work, because even these clamps, on this thing, those clamps actually barely almost held that damn thing. I had to use every clamp I had because cardboard gets heavy, and it would make the most sense that if I had like a bigger piece of flatboard, or like a bigger piece of like cardboard, that I would just have it leaning on the ground, and it would just prop up against this, kind of like leaning towards it. That way the bar and the tripods would actually support the weight, and the only thing you would have to just make sure that is just that it don't fall over on top of you. But it'd probably be the easiest thing that I could think of, because sure, I could always get a divider, but we're talking like hundreds of dollars just for something that's just going to go right behind me. The microphone's going to be replaced, in probably like mid-November. Latest is late November, to buy the $750 Shure SM7B microphone. Now, I know that it's not like the number one all in all, but it is one of like the top 5 microphones, and it's used in professional studios. And the reason why I think it's most suitable for me is because I actually have a very high tone voice when it comes to the way I talk at certain points. And the biggest struggle I had using the Blue Yeti is not only is it a sensitive piece of shit, that I have really compressed heavily, used a visual equalizer to properly get this. Some people's voices work really well with the Blue Yeti, mine does not. And there are times where my voice, when I have a loud game, can sound a little, I don't know, like just a little ear piercing. And that's the reason why I want to get the Shure SM7B, is because it's actually meant for people that want to have that low tone voice, podcasty, not have any kind of high screeching in your ear. That's literally what that microphone is designed for, is for people that don't want the high tone voice. Like when they're screeching, yelling, or saying the S or the T like stupid Tyrannosaurus, because when you use the T's and the S's, it's very hard. Even C words like crack, it's very difficult to take out of the Blue Yeti. If you actually listen to a lot of people who use their microphones, they actually, even on Twitch and YouTube, I've seen professional YouTubers with millions of subscribers who have really ear-piercing fucking microphones quality. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. Whenever they say the S, or the T's, it was just like I could hear it through my microphone piercing into my ears. And this is the reason why I did so much work on mine, is because I've been trying to perfect it. And, there's only so much I can do with this piece of shit. Same thing with the background. Like, I was bothered with it. It obviously made me look like an amateur. And I'm just like, there's only so much I can do when I have limited income. And, it's like, I spent at least $2,000 total on everything: monitors, desk, the microphone stuff, the audio panels, the LED, the RGB, they called newer 660 Pros. These are used in like photography and shit. Like freaking, I don't know, there's just like so much shit I bought for the streaming, and yet somehow I always feel like I need more things. Eventually I have to get a new PC, build a new PC, and I don't want just some average one that's going to last me only a few years. I need one that's going to last me a long time, and this is the reason I'm saving for that $3,000, $4,000 PC. I spent like $2,000 just to build that laboratory out there. Like, you guys know what the hell that's for. I don't even have to explain it. But that anybody who's been watching me for a long time knows the reason why I went to that. Is because life was just getting to the point where I didn't even want to be alive at that point. I felt like a fucking loser every time I woke up for my job. I couldn't barely eat. I lost my Dodge Charger. Like I fell the highest I ever came, all because I spoke out against a really corrupt company, which is Planet Hollywood. They're fucking corrupt piece of shit. Chase Hadle, the fucking director of cable games, and what was his name? I forget what his name is. There was another guy. There was like two other people, but Chase Hadle is a fucking asshole. I spoke out against his abuse and his his own employees in the company fucking sexually harassing the female dealers because they didn't have their own dressing room. They had to dress in the locker room and shit, and they're fucking have old men in our own freaking company walking in and watching them fucking change almost down to their bra and underwear. Like, that's not right. They have the temperature of the casino almost like at 60 something degrees. The girls are like freezing their ass off. They have marks and bruises on their body from the outfits, and just all kinds of things. It's just it was just abusive. And the funny thing is, with Planet Hollywood, the regular dealers who were just old people, could wake up out of bed looking like absolute fucking trash, were making the exact same money as the party pit girls who I was defending and speaking out for all their abuse and everything. They got paid the exact same. Those people who literally wake up out of bed, don't have to do their makeup, don't have to buy their own outfits for the party pit, don't have to be in shape or anything, wake up out of bed looking like crap, and come in and work at whatever pace they want. But then the party pit girls, which is like what I was, they had to deal with not only the sexual harassment and sexual eyeballing and sexual comments from their own employees, like security guards, engineers, the cleaners, you name it, no break room of their own. They're surveillance watching them on camera getting dressed and undressed. It's not right. Just freezing their ass off, all kinds of things I could name, and they're getting paid the exact same as the ones who wake up out of bed looking like actual shit because they pull their tips. Now I get it, I understand, like I have explained it to you guys, that it's the fault of those who accepted the job to understand what their circumstances are for the job description, but they lied on the job description. Those who said that they were part of the party pit stay in the party pit, and they would not go anything outside of the party pit. Well, they lied on that, and they did not put that in the job description. It was literally, I screenshotted and everything. There was no location of them saying that they could do whatever they want, like taking you out of the party pit, putting you in the regular dealers, or taking you from the regular dealers, putting you into the party pit. You had no choice. Caesars Entertainment is abusive as shit. But that isn't to say that every company out there is abusive as shit. But Chase Hadle is a fucking real piece of shit, and it got to a point, like I said, where I had so much shit on them that they were kind of very intimidated, especially the fact that my personality was so intense, so strong, that I could not even yell at somebody, but yet just talk to them exactly in this tone and stare at them dead in the eye. Mind you, that I was wearing my makeup and I looked a lot better than what I do right now, but the thing is that I could stare them dead in the fucking eye and talk exactly in this flat tone, almost like I'm interrogating them. And they were so intimidated by me that they sent 30 something, it was like 20 to 30 something armed guards to surround me from every direction just to set an example in front of everybody. And I had no response. I did not react. I looked around and I could see every single one of them trying to sneak up on me. And when they were even like standing next to me, I paid no attention to them. I paid attention to whoever I was really trying to focus on. I shook the hands of all the security guards and I said, listen, I know you're just doing your job, but I appreciate you guys, not being physical with me. It's like I do appreciate that because I came from the same field as you. I was unarmed, armed. I was a PI. I've done Brinks for the armored transportation, which is known as the messenger. The messenger gets in and out of the truck with the hand on the gun, money on the bag, stuff like that, and I did all this stuff. So we had that shared camaraderie. But I can tell from their face they didn't want to do what they were wanting to do. They had to do it. But Chase Adel, like I said, he wanted to set an example so none of the other girls would ever speak out against me, or speak out against them and their corruption and shit. It was just like this whole casino industry. I'm telling you, there's just so much wrong with it. I could go on and on and on with stories, but after I lost that job, I kind of almost questioned whether or not it was worth it. Like, maybe I should have just not said anything, but at the same time, my vigilante personality, my personality against corruption, and my personality to stand up for what's right is it's in my blood. This is why I was a ghost before, with the mask and hoodie and the black gloves and beating the shit out of bad people. I pulled a gun on probably 350 people and I've only shot at maybe 4 of them, only because I had to. I've been involved in saving a lot of people's lives in there. You probably saw it in my closet earlier. I had a black book that was sitting in the corner of that closet. That's all the police records and everything I've been involved in for all the people that I've, intercepted, like robberies, saved a couple people's lives in a crisis, shootings, all kinds of things. And how's it going, Little Hop? But, it's just, the thing is like, even though I cannot stand society, I fucking hate people so much because, yeah, I did. I've been involved in like holiday robberies, for example, and there's some situations where a hammer was raised up to someone's face. I had no choice but to shoot. New Year's Day, 2023. No, actually, what was it? Yeah, 2023, New Year's Day. I had 2 armed robbers. I still have the photographs of them. Didn't shoot at them, but I got them caught. I tailed them the whole time outside. But we never found the third guy. It's just nobody got hurt, thankfully. But it was like 40 minutes before the Las Vegas Metro ever showed up, and it was like if I wasn't there, these guys would have got away with it. Someone might have got hurt. The reason why that I struggled to have friends and family in my life, and you probably saw me get a little teary-eyed earlier, or not have any visitors, is because people don't understand my lifestyle. They don't understand the person I really am behind the scenes. People think that just because I'm streaming and all that stuff, that, it's just a video gamer. But you got to understand that this wasn't who I was before. I got lonely. I got tired of being behind the scenes, not having an identity, not showing my face to people, not having people in my life, because people were afraid of who I was. They didn't understand that, when you have somebody behind a mask, you don't know if they're an enemy, you don't know if they're unpredictable. I've explained this all in my previous videos. You guys know this, But the thing is like, you got to understand that, the reason why I actually have so much hatred towards people is the same reason why I have hatred towards people even on Twitch, is because people come in and they fucking have derogatory terms they throw at me, left and right. Like, you think I don't deal with this shit in person? Okay, I do. But I don't get it in person because people who actually do it in person, if they even tried, wouldn't even cross that boundary with me, because they can already see that I'm going to probably end up either really brutally beating the fucking crap out of them to the point that they will never want to do it again, or otherwise I put a gun to their head because of the insult. Like, I'm at this point in my life where I've kind of like stopped having fear, if not a filter, over the kind of shit that I do in life. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 13, 14 years. Never gone to jail. never been to court, never had a lot of things happen. Because, when I do things, if I have to, I do it quietly. I always say that no matter how talented someone is, no matter how skilled, well, I don't care if you have 50 years of military experience. I don't care if you have 200 guns. I don't care if you have $1 billion. The one thing that will never save your life is unpredictability. The inability to predict the unexpected. Like, for example, people go shopping or go to their friend's house and hang out and smoke weed, or go out and hang out, but they don't ever expect that someone's out there watching them or tailing them, or has a sniper to their about 700 yards away, 600 yards away on the average. You never know. You could have all the guns in the world at your home, but the same thing, you go out to a fast food industry and all of a sudden, all I have to know is exactly which fast food industry you're going to, and on the common basis, and all I do is wait there, and I'm out there, over 1,000 yards. A 6.5 Creedmoor round would go accurately at 1 mile in a distance. And sure, you have things like fingerprinting and rifling marks, that's what they call it. It's the windage marks that are on the inside of the barrel. But these things, or even the firing pin on the back of your firearm, is a identifier to your weapon. But you got to understand that if you know how to modify all these things, there is no way of tracing it. None. And, like I said, the unexpected is what gets you killed in life. I don't care how talented you think you are. If you do not expect someone to just suddenly, out of nowhere, you get to come up with your handshake. Hey, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, that's all it takes. You don't need the biggest knife in the world. You just need one that can cut. You can come up to someone and hug them, and that's it. You hug them, but already in the back of your hand, all you have to do is just, it's that easy. And people don't understand this, but I have studied this, I've studied so many things about tactics and strategy, and, being a tactician and seeing past what all those corrupt people do out there. My brain is designed to understand assassination, to understand tactics, to understand coordination, to understand unpredictable behavior, even nonverbal communication. This is the things that I am best at, but being a streamer, it's it's bringing out a side of me I never felt before in a really long time. Being on video games, sharing with people across the world. Even though I get mostly good people, there's always those that are bad people, and they exactly remind me of the reasons why I hate people. They come in and say a derogatory term, because they think that being behind a pseudo-anonymous account is going to save their ass, or protect them, or no punishment or anything, and this is why they have no filter. This is why they have no respect, but they don't have the same kind of behavior in person because of what I'm capable of. And the thing is these are the same people online that are abusive and trolling and harassing and all this kinds of stuff are the same exact people online. The ones outside, they're just on a phone. I know, and you're right, And the thing is I've dealt with that shit my whole life. You think that race gets it bad, or gay people get it bad, or I don't know, black people get it bad. You have no idea what it's like for people like me. How fucked up it really is. Your family disowns you, your friends leave you, the whole fucking country, if not the whole fucking continents of out there. No, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, what nationality, what culture, what religion, what fucking environment, what kind of lifestyle, but no matter what kind of way you're raised, everywhere out there is primarily going to be acceptable of races. Where like whether you're Mexican, black, whatever, there's always going to be a big category of out there to accept you for being a race, Asian, black, white, Korean, whatever, right? You're exactly right, And there's going to always be a wide category of people out there, no matter what country, what ethnicity, what nationality, what lifestyle, everything, who are going to be generally acceptable of gay people. But for people like me, I transitioned from female to male, and then I kind of stopped. I only needed some portion of it. That's not to say I detransitioned. It was just the fact that I got tired at some point, and I just stopped caring about taking, testosterone. But you deal with shit, and the reason why I deal with it worse is because people think I'm male to female, and so they treat me worse. They come in and they automatically assume that I'm some male to female instead of thinking I was female to male, and it's like I get treated the same way, horrifically, as male to females do, because I'm always assumed to be one. And this is the reason why I was given so much hatred towards society, by society, until it got me to a point after, 15 years of being in complete isolation. It turned me into this empty, dead shell. They say that people who are born, psychopaths can only become psychopaths when they're born. You cannot. So it's a chemical imbalance in the brain and a different brain structure that makes you a psychopath, just as much as it's a chemical imbalance as well as a brain structure that makes you a sociopath, right? Sociopathy and psychopathy are both chemical and structural differences, and both psychopathy and sociopathy are two different types of brain structures and chemical imbalances. They differ from one another. One can feel emotions, one cannot. One is very, very good at shutting off and shutting on their emotions, and the other is just very destructive and sporadic and unpredictable and very chaotic when they hit that breakthrough, right? And it isn't to say that just in the misterm that people think that, oh, you're crazy, you must be a psychopath. No, it has nothing to do with that. That's just a term that people, throw out there, but they don't understand that almost nearly 30% of the world, 30%, and you can listen to all the scientific analytical and statistics and stuff all you want online, saying that it's only like 1.5%, it's 30%. 30% of the whole fucking world suffers from psychopathy and sociopathy. And you just don't realize that you have it, because what do you do to avoid your discomfort? You don't go see things like therapists and stuff like that. You never want to, because you don't want people to judge you, right? Do you feel it helps to have, what the hell? Just hold on one second. In a sense, yes, and this is why I, want to, be a treasure hunter. I've been saving for all of my things, like my $6,500 rifle, thermoscope, 6.5 Creedmoor interchangeable barrels, using the second rifle, which I will eventually get, is a 3.38 Lupua. It's enough. It's probably the most powerful round in the world. Although it's not the most accurate, it is the most powerful round in the world that will go straight through the strongest level 4 body armor in one shot, even from half a mile away. This thing is very powerful round. It's like an anti-tank round, but it's not a 50 caliber. It's roughly about yay big. and this thing will pierce straight through level 4 body armor. The 6.5 Creedmoor is accurate up to a mile, makes it the most, easy to use, in all kinds of situations, to take out something from a long distance, But, I need those things because when I go treasure hunting out in the middle of nowhere, the thing is like, people act really stupid when they have no one out there to, stop them. You can go missing out in places like that. Not to mention the place that I'm going to has over 30% of the world's most deadliest insects, world's most deadliest predators are all located in the same territory, and over 97% of this entire state has not been explored for all the caverns. So it's a very dangerous territory. You're out in the middle of nowhere in the big desert and mountains, and especially if it's nighttime or if it's raining or if it's windy and it's pitch black out there, you're not going to see shit. And I need a thermoscope, to see them from a distance, and prefer to keep them like that. There's all kinds of reasons I'm getting all these equipments and everything, but this gaming is for us to share our time together. I want you to understand that the reason why I'm doing all the things that I do, like gaming and the future videos and all this stuff with the laboratory and stuff, is to show people over time the vision that I had about life. I explain all these things about political, neutral points about political stuff. Like here's an example of what I'm talking about. Every single person who becomes a politician, no matter Democratic, Republican, president, whatever the hell Congress, whatever you want to name it, all of them are corrupt. And I will tell you why. Because it takes a certain type of personality to seek out a job specifically to control other people in life. You ever thought about that? When you think about your kids, you get 10 children that are born. Most of them are going to be like, I want to be a doctor. Oh, I want to be a vet. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a computer person. But who the hell just one day wakes up to get into a job specifically to control other people's lives? It's only people who seek out power. This is why people like seeking out power in corporations, organizations, stuff like that, because there's some part of their personality that likes control over other people. All politicians, as an example, are very corrupt people because they all want power in some way to have effect over other people's lives. And this is why I have a very big hatred, if not rebellion, rebellious nature about me, about being anti-government. I find a common ground that as long as they don't get in my way, I don't get in their way. As long as they respect my life, I respect theirs. Because as long as they don't bother me, I have no fucking problem. But the thing is that the second it does become a fucking problem for me, I'll just leave it at that. But that's an example. I try to teach these things to people, Exactly. That's exactly my point hitting, But this is the thing about my streams. It's more than just about games. I want you to understand that every game I play has a very specific purpose. Hello, Justin. How are you doing today? But everything I play in video games have a very specific reason why I play them. Have you ever wondered why we like anime or movies or TV shows or even video games so much? Because we see conversations, character development, friendship, relationships in ways that we could never discover it in real life. Have you ever noticed that anime people, when they make friends with each other, like in, I don't know, an example like Yu Yu Hakusho or Inuyasha or Dragon Ball Z, that their friendship is so strong, so respectful, so there for each other, like ride or die. But you don't get that kind of shit in real life, not very commonly at least, You don't get the way that people talk in like video games or anime or stuff like that, because no one talks like that. No one acts like that. Unfortunate to say. And this is the thing, is that Video games, all of them that I play, at least a good majority of them, have a very specific reason why I play them. I want you to see the kind of life that I wish that other people would experience, you know? The happiness, the joy, the friendship, the strong companionship, the character development, the respect for all views of both characters, you know? Like a lot of people bashed on The Last of Us 2 because Joel got killed in it, right? And everybody hated the shit out of Abby. Abby sucks. Abby sucks. I hate Abby. Blah, blah, blah. She killed Joel. But you didn't see and understand that Abby had no idea what was even going on in Ellie's side of the story or Joel's side of the story. All she saw was her father get killed by this man. And she was on a rampage because of it, because he wanted to find a cure to help all the people. And she thought of him very highly, respectfully. And this man comes out of nowhere, kills the father, and then leaves. And you understand, what if that was you? What if that was you in that position and you had no idea who this man was or who Ellie was or what their purpose of doing all this was, right? They just killed her father. And you would see, understand from her both perspectives. They both had a respectful story. They both had a respectful life, you know? And they had their valid reasons. This is the thing about when I play games, I try to point these things out because other gamers don't do this shit. They don't think like that. They choose a side and they just stick with it. But me, I look at things from numerous perspectives to educate people to see things from a better light, you know? And, you know, this is what I've been doing in all of my videos, you know? But the gaming is for us to enjoy these things, to see life. You know, that there's more out there than just a TV, more out there than the fake smiles on billboards, more out there than just the cities that is systematic and there to keep you there, you know, and drain you of all your shit. There's life out there. There's a whole world out there, different cultures, different ethnicities, different environments, different places you could go that are not anything to do with tourism and trying to exploit you on your money. You can find ways to go out there and explore. You just have to take the step out there to do it. Exactly. You know, we're drawn to things, you know, we feel like we miss out. But the thing is that you don't always have to go down the path that everybody else is. If you want to go fishing, you don't need to go pay $200 at a fucking zoo to go fishing or, you know, whatever. You can go find a river, an ocean. You know, buy yourself a damn fishing pole, watch YouTube videos on how to fish properly from professionals, teach yourself. You don't need to be ripped off by a mechanic who is literally not showing you what the fuck they're doing to your car behind the scenes. You can learn to be a mechanic. I could name you 3 of the best mechanics I learned all of my mechanic skills from. Scotty Kilmer, Project Farm, a humble mechanic, you know, all these people will teach you fucking things way beyond what master mechanics will. They'll teach you how to change your tires, your engines, your pistons, everything. Fucking you name it. Sensors, you know. I'm telling you, you have access to a phone. Don't waste it on useless shit like people doing dumb shit on TikTok or Instagram, because it's not helping your life. Learn things on that multi-hundred trillions of pieces of information on the internet. Learn things to help yourself, educate yourself, you know, because you can work towards it. Eventually you'll become an autodidact, you'll become self-sustaining, you'll start becoming creative, that the more you learn, you start coming up with ideas that you could do with your own passions, you know. And the thing is that the country, all countries, thrive off of you being lazy and stupid. They want you to watch TikTok and Instagram because it makes you lazy and stupid, just like marijuana makes you lazy and stupid. It blocks your cognitive abilities, your ability to even think and process information. Over time, it makes you fat and lazy. They want you to be like that because it's easier to control society like that, you know? Now, I get it, everybody lives their life in whatever way, and I don't care what way you live your life, but I'm telling you that if you want to do something progressive someday, you got to take the steps to get out there to do it, you know? Because the thing is that as much as I hate society, I only hate it because of the way it's been morphed and twisted and corrupted and the fucking shit that people do, you know? Exactly. It's called mob mentality. One person does something and everybody else does it, you know? One person's abusive, everybody's abusive. And this is the thing, is that when I stream, I may not always be able to educate you every second, but I try to find moments in those games to educate you in some way, you know, to teach you how to be stronger, more self-sustaining, to see things from a different perspective, beyond the box, think outside the box, you know, look at political things from a different perspective, you know, look at life different, you know, even relationships, friendships, all those things, deceit, you know, because I spent my whole life watching people, studying things far beyond what most people ever have. At least I can do is share it, you know? Not always going to be the most agreeable because people, you know, have religions and stuff like that, or, you know, certain ways, but perhaps even somewhere down the road, those words will hit you when the time is right. You know, it'll be in the back of your mind and you'll remember about it, you know? And like I said, I don't care what the hell people do, what people believe in. As long as I don't have any problems with them, they don't have any problems with me, then I don't give a shit, you know? That's the way I live life, you know? But it's like, you know, I wanted to be a treasure hunter because I need to heal inside. You could see it in my eyes. There is no life in this eye, you know, both of my eyes. It's not because I look tired, but on all of my streams, I'm very monotone, almost robotic, almost like AI, you know? I have no life in my eyes, you know? It's like I'm gone, and I feel gone already. But I need to heal from all the shit that I've been through, and I'm not gonna get that in society. I need that somewhere out there. That's why I've been doing all this stuff. And someday I'm going to be streaming some things that are going to probably end up getting me in some very big, you know, dangerous situations, like swimming in the ocean and going into caves and live streaming it, you know, being in the middle of the woods, live streaming it, probably going to end up fighting face to face with some predators. You know, there's going to be things that I'm going to experience in these things, you know? And it does sound cool, right? You know, but it's also very expensive, also very dangerous. We're talking $60,000 to $75,000 worth of equipment, from prospecting gear to digging gear to camping gear to to drones that don't have to be registered through the FAA. You know, it has to be under like 250 grams or less, so that way it doesn't have to be registered to the FAA real tracking system, which means it's a ghost drone. You know, there's going to be things like freaking detectors that are probably going to be like, you know, 2,000-3,000 for very good ones. You know, a rope ascender, a gas powered or electric rope ascender, are usually 5,000-8,000, 10,000 just for a really good one. You know, there's all kinds of things, parachutes. You know, the fuck do they call that shit? Base jump parachutes, you know, for short height. You know, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to need, and it's going to be a hell of a journey. But gaming comes first, treasure hunting comes later, and whatever else comes beyond that. You know, someday I want to die. I want to be in space. I don't want to be buried in the same old shit as those disgusting cemeteries that you see all these people just living there, and there's homeless people everywhere around the cemeteries. You know, it's not the way to die. I'm going to die, I want to die where I want to die, which is out in the middle of nowhere, you know, doing what I love, seeing life, you know. And, you know, I know it's a big vision, but when you have no friends, no family, and they have been gone for 12, 13 years, you know, your whole soul and your mind and your heart and your emotions are gone, you have to find a reason to live. Something to make you happy, and that's what my heart tells me to do. That will find me that peace in life. It's not going to ever be through marriage, kids, family, because all that stuff is gone. It wasn't meant for me, you know. what's meant for me is to use these abilities that I have, this tactics, knowledge, the survival, the widespread of professions that I do, to use that, because there's like a part of me inside that feels unsatisfied with myself for not doing what I know I'm capable of for the good, making a change in the world in my own positive ways, to try to get people to see things from a different viewpoint, be more loving and caring and kind, or at least respectful, if anything, to one another, instead of this morphed direction that everything's going, And it's just, to get people to be more caring for their own life, instead of involving it so much heavily into nonsense. Because one day you wake up 10, 15 years later and there's no one there for you. What's going to be left of you? You'll be thinking, oh, I'm too old now, I'm too late. Well, that's why I say start now. Instead of spending all your time watching useless shit like people doing dumb pranks and stuff on TikTok, do things that you're passionate of. Research it on the internet, spend time learning about things, make you a better person in the long run. Don't buy useless shit that's not going to help you in the long run. I mean, in the short term, save it and spend it on things that are going to help you in the long term. Like, look at all this streaming equipment. You think my job could afford it? No, I spent like 7-8 months to gather the $4,000 or $5,000 to build that laboratory that's going to generate money. All the streaming equipment, I took months how to do audio, visual, everything properly on stream, which most streamers are too fucking lazy, if not don't give a shit about improving. I do, Like, you think I did this all in a short term, like I had the money? No, I spent reckless amounts of hours and days and weeks and months to save this, to starve myself almost borderline trying to get this all through. Because, it's like they say, if you can't sacrifice at least a month of your time, if not a year of your time, to suffer a little bit just to survive and look forward to a better life later, by investing or putting it towards your passion or stuff like that, then you'll never make it otherwise, because you have no self-control. If you can't teach yourself self-control, how the hell are you going to ever improve? It's a discipline to be an entrepreneur. Everybody thinks an entrepreneur is somebody that's like, oh, ambitious and stuff. No, an entrepreneur is a discipline, a set of skills, a set of experience, and rules. You follow those rules, the discipline, the skills, and the experience to a T, because you've learned from your mistakes and you continue to improve from it. That is a true entrepreneur. Not somebody who's just out there doing Uber and fucking investing and wants to start their own business. Not an entrepreneur. Okay. And, it's just, I know I have a lot to teach, but I'm not going to cram your brain in. But it's like, I should probably go make some food and try to, rest up. But I really appreciate you guys, sitting here to somehow get me to chat all of a sudden about life again. I don't know how I always get on these freaking subjects, but it's just I'm gonna finish this on my own time, but hopefully by the next video, when I start King Kong and stuff, it'll look all nice and stuff. But we'll see what happens. Either way, we should all get some rest. I know maybe some of you it's daytime, but for me it's like 4 something in the morning, 4:50 in the morning almost. I gotta work soon, or should I say sleep to work soon. But either way, I always appreciate you guys and your conversations with me. And I hope that someday I'll be able to find my niche, continue to grow, eventually look and be as professional as John Wolf in Markiplier. If it was one of my dreams in my world to ever meet somebody, it'd be the person who saved my life, unintentionally saved my life, is John Wolf. I don't care if he's not the biggest person. I don't care if he's no longer relevant. But He my ex. I'll actually go grab her photograph real quick. My ex-girlfriend, long time ago, she introduced me to John Wolfe. You know, she was, the love of my life. I was with her for almost 6 years, and the last stuff I have of her, she used to draw all these little things for me, like she always said that I was a little bunny. She had all these little trinkets and everything that I kept from all the years that we were together. I have more and more of these things in my closet, but she was the last partner I had. I have not dated anybody since then. I have not been intimate with anybody since then. We broke up on Thanksgiving Day, but we just had our differences. She wanted a different life. I wanted a different life. At the time, I was very wealthy at the time. I was probably on the peak of my ambition in life, being an entrepreneur. I was living off day trading for cryptocurrency. Didn't have to work, I had a house, 3,500 square feet. It was like 3,200 square feet. I had like 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and it was a massive backyard and everything. And, she saw me go from this like very quiet, timid Korean girl, Japanese Korean girl, because that's who I used to be, is very timid and shy and quiet and, just all about like little cute things and everything. And I don't know, she brought the light out of me, and eventually something later brought out the other side of my personality, which is the tough side, the side of me that as today. And as that side started to come out, also did a lot of my hatred come out. My hatred for people, my hatred for the shit I went through, my chaotic side that can, I'm not the type to like be chaotic as in like throw dishes across the bedroom or scream and yell. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like actual like scary, kind of behavior. It's like, it's just like very intense. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? Hatred literally made me change. I spent 15, no, actually, I don't know. I spent like 25 years in a dark room, just looping memories in my mind of all the bad things I've gone through, society being really shitty to me, all these kinds of things. And it morphed me over time. It was growing as a part of my nature as time went on, and eventually just hit this point where after she left, I snapped. Like I couldn't bring myself back to the cute, happy, charming, bubbly person I used to be. Now I'm me. And that's why I changed my name to Siri. It stands for conquer, indomitable, rectify, insurgent, lead, liberate, annihilate. That's what Cirilla stands for, my whole name. The purple lotus, which is my middle name, Per Lotus, it stands for the Egyptian blue lotus. It's the word of enlightenment, because I did enlighten myself through meditation and became the person I am today. Yeah. No, not just alone, actually isolated. I spent 90% minimally of my whole life in this very same kind of situation. The bedroom, no people, no calls, no texts, no nothing. I was like this for a very long time. It felt like solitary confinement, if not a jail. And it's the only things I ever knew. The only amount of social interaction I ever had was when I was forced to go to school or, out to shopping for groceries or stuff like that. But 90% of my life I was spent indoors. Every holiday, every birthday was always alone. I never really actually had somebody celebrate my birthday like with people there, or holidays with people there until I met my ex, And I guess that's why I'm so disattached from people. Why I feel like a robot, if not an AI. When I look at humans, depending on which side of my personality I am, whether it's my good side or my bad side. Well, it's not really my bad side, but my dead side. Whichever side it is can depend on the way that I react to a situation. My good side of me, like you see on streams when I'm happy and bubbly and stuff, that side of me is not capable of the things that I can do as my dead personality. Just like my dead personality cannot do what things I can do as a good person, my happy bubbly side. And it's like a mental trigger. It's not something I can control. It just happens, and once it does, I stay like that until I snap out of it and switch to the other side. I'm like almost two different people. I have the same personality, but I just have completely opposite emotions and expressions and interests once that happens. My dead side of my personality, like now, only cares about things that are ambitious, such as treasure hunting, the space, the marine biology, engineering, electronics, stuff like that. But my other side of my personality has no interest whatsoever about these types of things. It's more about like cutesy things, art, shopping, whatever. I don't give a shit. Making friends, talking to people, having fun. It's something I can't do as this part of me, It's a mental trigger that triggers on its own. If I was in my happy, bubbly side, I would not be able to defend my own life if I was in a situation. But when I'm like this, I'm capable of some incredibly out there things. And I have no part of me that can stop me from doing it, I can't really explain it. It's like a complete shutdown of being a human. And that's where I said that even though they say that scientifically it's not possible for someone to be a psychopath, I disagree. I believe that with enough trauma and enough, morphing of the brain, like over time when you're depressed or angry or stuff like that, it morphs your brain in ways that you cannot get back together. Your emotions change everything. Trauma can morph the part of your brain. It's like when you date somebody the first time versus dating the 25th person. The way that you love and break up versus the first person versus the 25th person, you can't ever go back to that feeling, of how you experienced it when you were with your first love or your first breakup, because your brain chemistry has changed and altered. That's the same thing with trauma, depression, anger, stuff like that, is that some part of me, when I'm in my dead personality, has been completely stripped of anything that is like capable of feeling human emotion. And there's once I have like something in my mind, it's just dead on. This is why I can do some things that I've done. I've always fought for the good, but I've used bad tactics to do for the good. It's what makes me a vigilante. I use very unorthodox or otherwise disagreeable ways to handle situations, but it's just how I am. Either way, You know, knowing both parts of my personality is very important to help you to understand who I really am. Because the thing is that if I only ever show my good side on stream, the happy, funny, giggly, dumbass, immature side of me, you're never gonna know the real me behind the scenes, right? You know, and this is what I'm talking about. Is it's important to know both sides of me to understand how I came into the picture of all the things that I'm doing. But this is something that has to be learned over a long period of time because I'm not somebody who's simple to understand. I'm a very complex person. You know, once you even think you have the grasp of me, you don't. You know, but that's why I try to explain it over time. It helps you to eventually start to see little by little how it all came into the picture. You know, someday I die or something like that, and if I had a big name like John Wolf or whatever like that, you know, maybe people will actually pay attention and break down to an analytical way to create a video to, I don't know, construct how I became who I am, you know. But the thing is like I try to do it while I'm alive, you know. And yeah, you know, I always wished I would have had a normal life like everyone else. Family, friends, normal mindset, normal body. Didn't have to go through the things that I did, but what kind of person would I be if otherwise? I'd probably be no different from half of the women out there, airheaded, completely backwards, you know, nothing to do with the type of person you know me as today. I'd probably be like some of those bubble bath streamers or whatever the fuck, you know. But maybe I don't entirely hate the fact that I was living the life that I did, because in this kind of fucked up backwards world, and I'm talking the whole fucking world, not just society, I'm talking about the system, the lifestyle, the beliefs, the way we treat people, the way people treat animals, the way people abuse social media by using their animals or their kids to create content. You don't get to see all the abusive shit that they do behind the scenes, like scolding their kid, like, you need to fucking make this video, blah blah blah, you need to smile, you need to do this. And then finally they capture the right image, the right video, and they post it online. But until then, you didn't see the other 40, 50 edits that they did behind the scenes to create that content, to make that kid smile at the right moment, or say the certain thing in the right moment, or the animal doing something in the right moment. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about that every time you see someone cry on the camera for Instagram, that they're actually setting up their stream and making sure everything's right, and then they hit the record button and then they start crying and sobbing and everything? You ever think about that? You know, you never do. But this is the thing, is that you don't see things from beyond the box. I do. I see past all the bullshit. Deceit is one of the biggest things that I can see right through, because I understand human behavior so well. I understand verbal, nonverbal, and both verbal communication to a degree that most people don't. You know, this is why I break down things for you guys when I game, you know. But the thing is like, you know, it's just, maybe I don't totally regret being who I am today. Because in this kind of type of world, would I really care to want to be like some of those other girls out there with a normal life and normal friends and everything, and not be completely aware of what's going on, or want to? I don't know. In my nature, maybe I prefer being me. Even if it is lonely, even if it is sad, even if I die, you know, a very depressing life out in the middle of nowhere, or otherwise, you know, do my treasure hunting and somehow some crisis happens, I don't know. I don't regret one bit of it. Because in order to want to do good for the world, you have to understand pain. How the hell are you supposed to help people if you don't understand pain? You know? I'm not gonna get emotional. It's just old wounds. That's all it is. She gave up on me because I drove her away. I was angry. I was angry and I was judgmental. I was angry that she, I don't know, wanted a different life. But the thing is that she wasn't me. She was herself. That's the big mistake I made. Was trying to, I don't know, like have her be like me. Never ever do that shit. But either way, yeah. Even though I miss her, it's just, I think I'll only just miss being happy. That's all. It's not that I miss her. I've learned to let go of her. Because, you know, if you love someone enough, you let them go. I just miss what it felt like being happy. Alive again. But, you know, it's just, I don't regret any of that because I wouldn't be the person I am if she hadn't left. You know, that's why I became Siri. That's why I put my middle name as Perlotus, which is enlightenment, you know, because I have changed. You didn't see the person I was before. You don't want to. But now I'm trying to do things that are progressive, ambitious, helpful to people in my own way. May not always be the most agreeable way, sometimes like this. But the thing is that I don't think that it's a bad thing, because if someone out there is really going to go out there and, you know, try to make a change for people, you got to think about sacrifice. You know, a lot of people are too afraid to lose their freedom or their family or just other shit, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. For me, I don't have any of that stuff to lose. I should, I don't know. I should go clean up. But yeah, I should just go clean up, get some food, and have a cigarette, you know? Got some of that done. And now I just gotta wait for the glue. I gotta order that. That way I can get these panels up and everything. But yeah, I didn't expect this. The freaking... I mean, either way, you know, talking about things like this, sometimes it's necessary. In order to learn about people, you have to learn about these things. I don't always talk about it, if not at all. But at some point, you know, I open up little by little. Other people get to learn about it. Help them understand how I became how I am. You know, why I tend to do the things I want to do in the future. You know, what drove me to that point. But yeah, when you have no family, no friends, and you're all by yourself, you have to find a reason to live and find a new passion in life. And that was mine, is the treasure hunting and the discovery of like exploring space someday. Like, I would love to see it before I die. You know, just using my abilities out in the wilderness, seeing places that people wouldn't go to that exist out there, being around nature, seeing places that and things that you wouldn't even dream of, that's real life right there, not TV, not these fake scripted bullshit on the internet, but being out there to really see actual life outside of the city, outside of the system, things outside of your comfort zone or what you're used to. That's life. Everybody will always say, what's my purpose in life? Your purpose is what you make it. Okay, there's no such thing as a fate or whatever. It's everything to do with what you do. I always described this before. Life is a bowl of water, and every droplet of water is a person. You drop a new piece of matter in there, and what does it do? It spreads and ripples across the whole entire water, right? Eventually, it becomes part of the bowl. That is the same concept as life. Every action that we do as an individual affects another person in some way. Just like life is strange until dawn. Even the things you say, how you say it, what you do, you have the full control to literally change and almost nearly manipulate the situation based on the way that you actually say things, do things, whatever, if you understand it to the degree that I do. You gotta go talk to your girlfriend in a nice way right now. Say, hey, honey. Or otherwise, you have the ability to say something really stupid and start an argument. You have literally control over the way that you make an effect happen. And this is in just us as an individual. But when you put a whole group of people, if not the whole world doing it, it creates a massive complex effect, And this is the thing about society, is that some things are outside of your control. You may think in your mind, oh, I'm going to create a really massive big change to get people to love each other, and blah, blah, blah. But you're talking 7 billion people that you have to convince to do that. And it has to create a ripple effect across all the people, eventually to the degree that everybody starts thinking and loving the same. It's impossible. But the thing is that you as an individual, every single person on this planet, has control to manipulate the situation around you in a positive or a negative way based on what you do. This is why you are in control of your own life and goals and your successes, your failures, everything is all depending on what you do. And that's why I always stretched with you guys. This is why I always stretch with you guys, anybody watching this video, that if you want to change for the better, you have to make the steps to get out there to do it. Spend your time researching and doing things behind the scenes to help you for the long run. You are in control of it. But either way, try to get some rest. I want to make some food and eat. It's really late. I didn't expect to be on this for this long. But I don't, regret the talk. I appreciated the talk. When I come back, we'll be doing actual gaming streams. I probably won't be doing behind the scenes very much. It's very rare for me to. But either way, I do thank you all for being here to listen. And I appreciate it. Thank you, Justin. But either way, I will see you guys in the next video, and I'll promise to get this done, you know. But you take care as well, Penny. And I will see you later, Justin, and anybody else who's there. Good night, everybody.